It's 1994. A 23-year-old man stands inside a grocery store in Cedar Falls, Iowa. His name tag reads Kurt. He's stocking shelves, making $5.50 an hour. His hands, the same hands that once threw footballs in college, are now arranging cans of beans. Customers walk past him. Nobody looks twice. Nobody asks for autographs. Nobody even knows he plays football. Because in their eyes, he doesn't. He's just another guy. Another nobody. Another failure who couldn't make it. But here's what nobody knew. In just 4 years, this grocery store clerk would win an NFL MVP award. In 5 years, he'd win a Super Bowl. And by the end of his career, he'd be standing in Canton, Ohio, wearing a gold jacket, being inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. This is the most unbelievable underdog story in NFL history. And I promise you, by the end of this video, you'll never look at your own struggles the same way again. The dream that almost died. Kurt Warner grew up in Burlington, Iowa. Small town, blue collar, Friday night lights. From the moment he could hold a football, Kurt knew what he wanted. He wanted to play in the NFL. He wanted to be a quarterback. He wanted to prove that a kid from Iowa could make it to the biggest stage in sports. But here's the thing about dreams. They don't care about your plans. Kurt played college football at Northern Iowa. Not Alabama, not Ohio State, not some powerhouse program that NFL scouts drool over. Northern Iowa, Division I AA, a school most people couldn't find on a map. But Kurt didn't care. He balled out anyway. In his senior year, he threw for over 2,700 yards. He was the Gateway Conference Offensive Player of the Year. He was confident. He was ready. And then came the 1994 NFL Draft. Kurt sat by the phone. Round 1, nothing. Round 2, nothing. Round 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, nothing. The phone never rang. Not a single team wanted him. Let that satisfy for a moment. The man who would become one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history was passed over by all 28 teams. Not once, not twice, 28 times. But Kurt wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. The Green Bay Packers gave him a chance. They invited him to training camp in 1994. Kurt was thrilled. This was it, his opportunity. But Green Bay already had a quarterback. Some guy named Brett Favre. Maybe you've heard of him. Kurt was cut before the season started. And just like that, his NFL dream was over. Or so everyone thought. Now here's where most people would quit. Cut by the only team that gave you a shot, no other NFL teams calling, no Arena League offers, nothing. What do? Kurt Warner did what he had to do. He got a job at a Hy-Vee grocery store in Cedar Falls, Iowa, stocking shelves, working the night shift, making $5.50 an hour. $5.50 an hour. Think about that. This is a grown man with a college degree, a record-setting quarterback, and he's stacking bread loaves at midnight just to pay rent. But Kurt showed up. Every single shift. No complaints, no excuses. Because here's what separated Kurt Warner from everyone else. He never stopped believing. During the day, he trained. He threw footballs. He studied film. He worked on his footwork. While other people were sleeping, Kurt was grinding. While other people were partying, Kurt was preparing. For what? He didn't even know. But he prepared anyway. Meanwhile, his personal life threw him another curveball. Kurt had met a woman named Brenda. She was a former Marine, a single mother of 2 kids. And one of her children, Zachary, was legally blind due to a traumatic brain injury he suffered as an infant. Kurt didn't run. He stepped up. He became a father figure. He embraced the struggle. Think about this man's life at this point. He's working a minimum wage job. He's helping raise 2 kids that aren't biologically his. He's been rejected by every NFL team, and he's still waking up every day believing he's going to make it. That's not delusion. That's faith. In 1995, Kurt finally got another shot at football. But it wasn't the NFL. It was the Iowa Barnstormers of the Arena Football League. Now, if you don't know what arena football is, imagine regular football, but played indoors on a field half the size. It's fast, it's chaotic, and most importantly, it's not the NFL. Most people would have seen this as a step backward. Kurt saw it as a step
forward. He dominated. Absolutely dominated. In 3 seasons with the Barnstormers, Kurt threw for over 10,000 yards and 183 touchdowns. He won 2 Arena Bowl championships. He was named the league's MVP. But here's the crazy part. He was still working at the grocery store during the off-season. Arena League players didn't make good money back then. Kurt was earning maybe $30,000 a year, not enough to quit his day job. So picture this, Kurt Warner, Arena Football MVP, is still stocking shelves at Hy-Vee. Still invisible, still unknown, still waiting. But someone was watching. In 1998, the St. Louis Rams signed Kurt Warner to their roster. Not as a starter, not even as a backup. He was the 3rd-string quarterback, the guy who holds the clipboard, the guy who never plays. But Kurt didn't care. He was in the NFL, finally. He spent his first season learning, watching, preparing. He barely saw the field. Then came 1999, and everything changed. The Rams' starting quarterback, Trent Green, tore his ACL in the preseason. Done for the year. The backup, some guy named Paul Justin, wasn't ready. And suddenly, the Rams had no choice. They turned to their 3rd-string quarterback, the grocery store clerk, the Arena League nobody, Kurt Warner. The media laughed. Analysts predicted disaster. One reporter literally asked the head coach, Dick Vermeil, if the season was already over. Vermeil's response, "We will rally around Kurt Warner and we will play good football." Nobody believed him. Nobody believed Kurt. And that was their first mistake. Kurt Warner didn't just play good football in 1999. He played the greatest football anyone had ever seen. In his first game as a starter, he threw for 309 yards and 3 touchdowns. In his second game, he threw for 256 yards and 3 more touchdowns. By week 3, people were asking, who is this guy?
By week 8, people were saying this guy might be the best quarterback in football. By week 16, there was no question. Kurt Warner threw for 4,353 yards that season. He threw 41 touchdowns, the second most in NFL history at that time. His passer rating was 109.2, the best in the league. The Rams went 13-3. The offense was so explosive, so unstoppable, that people gave it a nickname, the greatest show on turf. And Kurt Warner was the ringmaster. But the regular season was just the beginning. Playoffs, divisional round. Kurt threw for 258 yards in a win over the Vikings. NFC Championship. Kurt threw for 391 yards and demolished the Buccaneers 11-6. Yes, 11-6. The defense was terrified of this man. And then came Super Bowl 34. Rams versus Titans. Kurt Warner versus the Doubters. The grocery store clerk versus the world. 73,000 fans in the Georgia Dome. 88 million people watching at home. Kurt stepped onto that field with the same confidence he had stocking shelves at Hy-Vee, the same belief he carried through the Arena League, the same fire that never went out. And he delivered. 414 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, a legendary performance. With the Rams leading 23-16 and seconds remaining, the Titans mounted one final drive. They got to the 1-yard line. 1 single yard. And then Mike Jones made the tackle heard around the world. Game over. Rams win. Kurt Warner is a Super Bowl champion. 5 years earlier, he was stocking shelves. Now he was holding the Lombardi Trophy. And it wasn't just the Super Bowl. Kurt was named Super Bowl MVP. He won the NFL MVP award. He won the AP Offensive Player of the Year. The man nobody wanted became the man nobody could stop. But Kurt wasn't done. In 2001, he won his second NFL MVP award. He led the Rams back to the Super Bowl, though they fell short against the Patriots in a heartbreaking loss. Injuries slowed him down. Critics wrote him off. Again. So Kurt reinvented himself. He went to the Arizona Cardinals, a franchise that had never won anything. And in 2008, at 37 years old, Kurt Warner led the Cardinals to the Super Bowl.
He threw for 377 yards in a heartbreaking loss to the Steelers in one of the greatest Super Bowls ever played. Think about that journey. Undrafted, cut, grocery store, arena league, third string, two-time NFL MVP, Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, Hall of Famer. Kurt Warner retired after the 2009 season. In 2017, he stood in Canton, Ohio, delivering his Hall of Fame speech. Tears in his eyes, gold jacket on his shoulders. He thanked Brenda. He thanked his kids. He thanked everyone who believed when nobody else did. And he said something that should stick with you forever. The lessons I learned on the way to the top are far greater than the view from the top itself. So let me ask you something. What's stopping you? What dream have you given up on? What goal have you convinced yourself is impossible? Because if Kurt Warner taught us anything, it's this. Your circumstances don't define your future. Your setbacks are just setups. And the only person who can truly count you out is you. Kurt Warner had every reason to quit, every reason to accept that he was just a grocery store clerk who used to play football. But he didn't. He kept throwing, he kept believing, he kept stacking shelves during the day and stacking touchdowns at night. And eventually, the world had no choice but to notice. So whatever you're going through right now, keep going. Your Super Bowl moment is coming. You just have to stay ready for when it does. If this story inspired you, smash that like button. It tells the algorithm to show this video to more people who need to hear it. And if you want more incredible NFL stories like this, subscribe and hit that notification bell. I drop videos every week breaking down the greatest players, the craziest moments, and the stories they don't tell you on ESPN. Drop a comment below. What's your Kurt Warner moment? What obstacle are you currently facing? Let's build each other up in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.